This is the Good Neighbor Podcast, the place where local businesses and neighbors come together. Here's your host, Jeremy Wolf.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Good Neighbor Podcast. I'm your host, Jeremy Wolf, and today I'm joined by two lovely ladies, and there seems to be a theme developing here on the show. I've done a lot of interviews, and I've now interviewed quite a few women-owned businesses in trades that are, I guess, predominantly male. I've had Tamara Chase with Chase Roofing on, Priscilla Fletcher with Priscilla's Plumbing, the Lady Plumber. Most recently, I had Angelica Negrete with Royal Gardens Landscaping and Design. And our guests today, Kayla Freed and Johanna Marish, they own Rally Now Restoration. So it's pretty cool to get a chance to speak to women entrepreneurs in, again, predominantly male-dominated fields. So, ladies, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Good morning. Thank you.
Yeah, it's our pleasure. And thanks, as always, to our listeners for tuning in to learn more about our great community and the businesses that serve us. So, without further ado, why don't you start off by telling us a little bit about what you do at Rally Now Restoration?
So for the company, I mean, we're, a water restoration company. We do mold remediation. We are, woman-owned and operated, and we service the Tri-County area. So Broward, West Palm, Miami-Dade. We also do tend to go outside those areas as well. Sometimes we do get, some homeowners that call us from outside of our localized zone here. But we'll work with them, the best that we can and see if we can take care of it for them.
Now, do you also do the inspection part of the process or only the remediation side?
Yes, we do the inspection part as well.
Okay, well, we don't do the testing. We will come out and look for visible mold and damage and things like that, but we don't test the actual mold. Okay. But we do have great referral partners.
And how long have you been in business for?
So we're new in this area. We've been open since March.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. So new business, new adventures. It's very exciting. But yeah, so I mean, we're new, but we're definitely, putting in the effort and, making a name for ourselves down here.
So I got to know, what's the background here? Because again, this isn't the typical career path or trajectory for women entrepreneurs. How did you both get involved with this business? And what's the background leading up to this?
So I've been in the industry for a while now. I originally was in real estate and flipping homes, so I knew construction. And then when I was kind of done with that, I just gravitated and found my way towards the restoration world. And through the years, eventually went and partnered up, opened another company, and then wanted to do South Florida. And I've known Kayla for a while, and I know she had great work ethic, and I knew she would be an asset to not only myself, the company, the industry as a whole.
Back up a second there. So you said you gradually just found your way to the restoration side. Like, was this something that along the way in your real estate journey?
Well, because I had the real estate and construction knowledge when I was looking for a more consistent clock in, clock out. And I was, obviously looking on job posts and things like that. And I found the restoration post because I had construction knowledge. I thought, okay, let me apply and go from there. And I, went from there and never left.
So you were in real estate, shifted into the restoration side. And I'm just thinking out loud here. You're working at another company and you're thinking to yourself, man, I could do this. I think I could do this at least as good or better from a woman's perspective.
Right. I actually left the industry for a while because I didn't agree with certain things. And, homeowners have certain feelings about restoration companies and insurances. And then after, talking to people, I decided to come back to do the right thing, to not put homeowners in the bad position and to give them the quality work that they deserve.
Very cool. Yeah, I can't disagree with any of that because I know that on my end, my wife does like 99% of things better than me. So, so and what about you, Kayla? What was your background? What did you do before the restoration side, and then how did you ultimately find your way linking up with Johanna to start the business?
Yeah, so I mean, I I've known Johanna for years, and so she knew that I had always had, customer service and managing positions, where I am really good with people, and so and different kinds of people as well. So it's like, you're maybe, to some people, their difficult clients might actually be my favorite clients, because it's kind of, it's a nice challenge for me that I feel like I'm up to the task, where you may have, a client who may be upset. He or she, may have a lot of questions, and it may just be someone that people naturally just kind of brush off, and they never get good customer service from anybody, because they just get, people get tired of them, whatever. And I take that as a challenge, and I like it. And they're usually the people that call me on a daily, a regular basis at whatever job I've had, that they know that they can talk to me. They feel safe. They understand, they trust. And, it's a good relationship that was built, where they have not had that opportunity to build a good relationship. So, Johanna, she's known this about me. She's known me for years. And she thought that it would be a good asset for what this industry was lacking, which is the communication, the trust, and, just building relationships. Because with this field, a lot of people, it's just, for maybe a lot of other companies, it's a job, a payment, and goodbye. For me, it's like, I want that,
The personal touch.
Exactly. Where,
You can teach somebody restoration, but you can't teach them to care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I care. And that's why, she had gotten me involved in this industry. And, the clients that I've met, and the relationships, even, with other trades who, like to refer our company, because, they take care of one part of the problem and we take care of the other part. They really do appreciate that, because, I treat their clients, if it's, a trade that's referring to us, I treat them like, the same way that these other companies would treat their clients, like there's no lapse, from one company to the other. It's just a continuous, great treatment that's being given.
I love that perspective, that mindset that you take into the customer service and dealing with quote unquote problem customers or problem clients. Mm-hmm. One of the things that I've learned is that you get this almost an inherent resistance when you get a problem, like a person, whether it's a client or a customer that's complaining. But oftentimes when you kind of put yourself in their shoes and suspend what your own thoughts, there's a great learning experience for me. I've noticed oftentimes when I lean into those situations, I end up getting a lot out of it on my end as well when I embrace it. And I learn a lot about myself and how I can be better. And and like you said, a lot of those interactions lead to stronger relationships, because people don't normally get that type of interaction when they're being difficult. And when you really, really settle in and make them feel at ease, they appreciate it that much more. And it helps change their perspective in dealing with people in the future too, I think. So
absolutely.
It's a two-way street.
Nobody wakes up and they decide, what, I'm going to be a pain. I'm going to get on the phone and I'm going to give this person a hard time. Yep. It's usually brought upon from other stressors that are going on in their lives,
Absolutely.
Whether it's a stressor that's happening that day or it's just been a continuance of something. I mean, I understand that. I get that. I know I will help you with this problem. I can't necessarily help you with the other problems in your life, but this I will take care of for you.
Yeah, but sometimes just that one act of kindness and helping them with that will again have implications on other aspects of their life and hopefully help them do better. Because you said it. I say that all the time, right? Most people aren't out there trying to mess with people, right? They're just going through their own life, having problems, and sometimes they inadvertently take it out on others. So it's always important to come from a place of patience and understanding. That's what I've learned in my journey. So I think a lot of people, I guess in the restoration business, what are some of the most common misunderstandings or myths or misconceptions that people typically have surrounding your industry?
I think that, when people are calling us and they want an inspection for their home, I think a big misconception is that, it's not really an issue. Like we're not in the field that people are casually calling us. We're being called out of an emergency or some kind of, fear that's in their mind that something is happening. So, I mean, when it comes to water damage or mold damage, that's all stuff that, like this is not planned for. Nobody plans to have water damage. Nobody plans to find mold. But when you do, you want to call someone, you want to have them come out. So when it comes to water, that has to be dried up immediately. I mean, in the state that we're in, we're in South Florida. It's, a constant 90 plus degrees, for 3/4 of the year, you know? So, I mean, it takes a day for that water damage to start causing mold. And that's not just stuff that can, you know, like, that's not just stuff you can spray Windex on, clean it up, and then all of a sudden
there's like serious health implications for untreated mold, obviously. So
absolutely. I mean, if people knew how many calls we got from people who, you know, their whole family in the house, they've been sick, they've been coughing, they've had, you know, breathing problems, and all to find out it's, you know, they have mold everywhere, you know, and it's not where you can see it either. It's within the walls, the floorboards, you know, I mean, we're able to find that out for you. We have moisture readers that we take out to the inspection. We're able to find the areas that you didn't necessarily think had moisture, you know, and we're able to also see if those areas contain mold, you know, and if it does, we're able to get you a better understanding of where it is. You know, often enough when we do our, when we use our moisture readers, we're finding more areas in walls, ceilings, baseboards that have moisture that people had no idea, you know, there was moisture behind, you know, and if there's moisture and that moisture is, you know, gone unnoticed for a long time, more than likely you will find mold.
That was going to be kind of my next question. So obviously it's not always the case that somebody has, you know, a serious catastrophe where you get flooding and it has to be dealt with. There are, like you just said, I'd imagine many homes out there that already have mold in it, and somebody wouldn't think that to be the case, right? What are some, I guess, tips you can give or things that somebody could look for that might get them thinking like, maybe I should get somebody out here? Or is it something that you should just every several years, you should just have somebody come out and do an inspection just to be sure it's safe? What kind of tips and advice could you offer homeowners to ensure that they could curb these issues from getting worse?
Yeah, I mean, a big part is if you have someone who thinks that, you know, all of a sudden they've developed these onset allergy issues and they're, you know, feeling sickly, they're, you know, wondering if it's something in the air, you know, then there might be a good chance that it's in your home, you know? So, I mean, that's a good reason to, you know, have someone come out, as well as, you know, when you're in this industry, you start to notice water stains a lot more than you would if you weren't in this industry. Like all these things that you pass on a daily basis in your home, now all of a sudden you're looking and you're like, you know what, I am going to, you know, take out my moisture. I'm just going to check for good measure, you know? So, I mean, and you could find, you know, water stains, and it could be from some old issue that's been resolved. You know, maybe you had a leak, you had your roof fixed, and, you know, those are just remnants that just need to be painted over. It's all dried out and fine now. But, you know, I think just keeping in mind, you know, if you have an older house or a house that's due for a roof, or, you know, you start to hear some droplets, you know, during a rain, is okay, start to assess the problem now before, you know, we get deeper into hurricane season here, where we're going to get all these calls for the flood side, or even for the, you know, water damage from roofs that needed to be repaired before this season.
Yeah.
So good for, it's good to, you know, have someone come out and just do some inspections just for maintenance. But if you have a feeling, usually there's a reason why you're having a gut feeling.
Yeah, because that's one of those things where, you know, I can imagine you could live in your house for 10, 15, 20. If you're not selling the house, in your mind, you're thinking, well, what do I need to get an inspection for? If there's no visible problem, or you're not noticing anything, or you're not, maybe you are having a health concern, but you're not linking it to that possibility, I would think that you'd want to at least get an inspection again every 5 years, just for the sake of that. I got to imagine if you came out to do an inspection for a property and then there turns out to be an issue, then the inspection cost is like, once you do the work, it's covered for the inspection, that kind of thing. Does that make sense?
So
yes, we don't charge for the inspection.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah, we don't even charge and then take it out in the back end. It's we're there to help, and then if we could help, that's, you know, obviously where the costs come, but we don't charge for the inspection at all.
Got it. So, okay. How long have you known each other prior to that? You mentioned you've been friends for a long time. How long have you known each other?
Yeah, well, I think for the last 5 years, we've known each other. We had, we actually met each other through the barn that we were at, because we both have horses. So, I mean, we've known each other for a good 5 years now.
Mm-hmm.
So what would you say? So obviously you're very close friends. What would you say is one of the biggest challenges, if any, working with a close friend, running a business with a close friend? And on the other side of that, maybe one of the biggest rewards about being in business with a close friend?
I think that, you know, obviously when you work with friends, the biggest challenge that people should look out for is obviously, the balance between professional and personal,
Yeah.
and so she and I do a great job. We don't, we've never had the instance where we've had to mix those, like we've never had an issue
Turn it off and turn it on.
yeah, because we knew going into, into business together that obviously our business is what's coming first. And, it's always been a priority on our minds to make sure that, this business, which is our baby, is able to grow and thrive, and it doesn't, get muddled with, issues from, maybe a personal standpoint.
Very cool. Anything, Johanna, any thoughts you want to give to that?
No, I don't think, knock on wood, we've never really had a problem. We know when to talk about friend stuff, when to talk about business. Most our one-on-one business meetings are on the back of a horse, so it's always
I love it.
a good time.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, I don't know from this because I'm not in these industries, but in an industry such as this, that are predominantly male-dominated industries, I keep saying that. Is there, when you start a business in a field like that, do you get any pushback from other companies that are, like more, I guess more, what's the word I'm looking for? Companies that have been around for a while that are typically male owned. Do you get any resistance on that front? How does that work?
I would say more of a more girl power thing. Like, good for you guys. I haven't really had like bad experiences per se, personally.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So you mentioned horses. When you have free time, obviously running a business doesn't warrant much free time, but when you do have some downtime, what do you like to do for fun? And talk a little bit about how'd you get into horses?
Well, so how we got into horses was basically, we both kind of, I don't want to say fell for the same thing, but the same person who gave her horse actually gave me my horse. And so it was kind of a like-minded drop kick into the horse world, and so her and I, when we're not working, we'll take them out, we'll go for a ride. We call them the kids, because they're a little on the older side, but they're our kids. And so we take them out, we do trail rides. They have had a lot of different types of adventures in different parts of the state as well as the country, so and to what Johanna said, a lot of our meetings, it ends up tying into work too. So they're kind of our honorary employees for Rally Now Restoration, because some of our meetings end up being held on horseback while we're on trails. That the conversation shifts and we end up talking about the business, and now all of a sudden she's with her horse, I'm with my horse, and we're all in a meeting.
Not your typical corporate boardroom meetings.
No,
but that works for us.
Yeah.
Non-typical.
So cool.
It's some of our best conversations, I think, have been on horseback.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. What would be, I guess, one thing that you'd like to leave our listeners with about the business? I would say that for this industry, bigger is not always better. So, we're a new company. We're your typical small size restoration company. However, what like when people are looking to, call a company and they're like, I'm going to go with the one I've heard on TV, I've heard radio ads for, I've seen ads on my Facebook for, like your go-to name brand, big restoration company, what you're most likely going to lack in that is a personal connection with the person that's talking to you, because we've developed our core values. We know what it is that we want our business to be. And so within every interaction, when we get a phone call from the homeowner or from a referring, partner in another trade, we take the time to make sure that you're comfortable, that, all your questions are answered, that you're educated. We're not just, an hourly or salary employee that's working for a bigger name company that's just clocking in, clocking out, and they don't really care about the experience that you're having or the actual issue that you're having. So we treat everybody the same, no matter if it's, a big, commercial job or a small residential job. We treat everybody as if, they're an important client, because they are, so
for us, that's why I say, like, bigger is not always better. You're not always going to get the best service going to someone that has, a big name brand,
Yes, very important to support local, small, medium-sized businesses. It's obviously the bigger you scale a business, they're doing something right to be able to scale. But like you said, you lose that personal feel, and it's always great to have business owners on this platform to, I always like to say, get a look under the hood and learn a little bit about not only what the business does, but why they do what they do, and hear these different perspectives. And I think that really does resonate with people. So for anyone out there that's listening that would like to learn more, maybe we just raise some awareness. Maybe somebody's been staring at their ceiling for the last 3 years with a big water spot. It just didn't occur to them that they might have an issue. If they want to reach out, how could they do that? How could they reach you, ladies? What's the best way to get a hold of you?
Absolutely. We have a Facebook page. We have a website. Obviously, the best way to get in contact with us. We're a 24-hour service, so we answer the phone all the time. Giving us a call directly to our number would be best. And like I said, we are a 24-hour business. It doesn't matter if it's an emergency that just happened or someone is working the night shift and they just, it's 4 a.m. and they happen to, need some information about our services. We are able to answer. We are able to educate.
All right. Very cool. We will throw a link in the description below to all of your contact information. So if anybody wants to reach out, they will know how to find you. Kayla, Johanna, pleasure meeting you.
It's a pleasure meeting you as well.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for coming on the show. And
Absolutely.
Thanks, as always, to our listeners for tuning in. And we will catch everyone next time on the next episode of the Good Neighbor Podcast. Everyone take care. Have a wonderful day.
Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Good Neighbor Podcast, Cooper City. To nominate your favorite local business to be featured on the show, go to gnpcoopercity.com. That's gnpcoopercity.com, or call 954-231-3170.